Cutter's Degrassi Unpopular Opinions. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Degrassi Unpopular Opinions video. We went through a lot, and now here's the next one. This is an unpopular opinion about Hatzilakos and Peter and their dynamic. And the unpopular opinion that Hatzilakos' parental responsibility was too high, was higher than her school relationship. Now, we are introduced to Mrs. Hatzilakos in season 2 as a science teacher when JT basically becomes class clown and imitates her, I think. And then for project, they get close together and all that. And basically, JT realizes the power of doing well in school and all that. So basically what you got is that JT had a thing for Hatzilakos. That was funny. But anyway, Hatzilakos wasn't featured too much in the next few seasons. Well, in season 3, she was basically there when she announced Emma's name was Emma Simpson instead of Emma Nelson. But that's how the office had it, because they knew that mom is now Simpson, married to the snake. But Emma says, no, it's Nelson. So anyway, Emma basically is upset by that, and that spurns her to try to find her real father and all that. Yeah. So anyway, season 4, she's not featured that much, but then she gets put in the spotlight in Bark at the Moon when she's the new principal, as the school board thought that Radish's inattentiveness towards Rick was a bad sign towards things. And I think they basically hit the fact that, it was the aftermath too. Like, he didn't do a good aftermath. Everyone knew it. So basically what we got here is that, things happened. So anyway, Hatzilakos is now the new principal, and she does a good job. I mean, she does the right thing in a few senses. Basically, in season 4, expelling Jay and Spinner for their roles in the paint and feathers thing for zero tolerance. Now, would Spinner and Jay have been expelled for that? Yes. But a lot of people probably thought that she was expelling them for why Jimmy got shot. But, I mean, no. The school board said there was a zero tolerance policy. And I think the school board put that in after Rick's death, basically punishing Degrassi in that way. And then, season 5 pops up. She talks to Jay and Spinner and say that they are allowed to come back. After all, you're expelled for 1 year, but you get under review. Spinner says he's willing to take the chance because he was willing to graduate, and he's willing to get everyone to forgive him for what he did to Jimmy. Although Spinner was kind of conflicted in fact. But basically Jay said that the school needed a scapegoat, and with possibly Sean and also Radish being both out the door anyway, the school board needed a fresh head and Spinner's head. And they knew Spinner was weak. But if they knew Spinner was weak, why didn't they attack him before Jimmy came back in Eye of the Tiger? I'm asking you. Spinner came back anyway. So anyway, Jay, I think, was trying to stand up for Spinner, but Spinner didn't want the help. Spinner basically lashes at Jay, saying that every time I'm with you, bad things happen. It's your fucking fault. So anyway, Spinner. And then we find out, in part 2 of Venus, we find out that Peter, who basically distributed Manny's topless video to the school, basically the fact that Manny refused to pay him money to go out with him, we find out that Peter and Hatzilakos are related somehow. It's like, wait a minute, his last name is Stone. Why is he with Hatzilakos? Simple. Hatzilakos separated from her from her husband, or Peter's dad, if you will, because Peter's dad was unfaithful. So basically, yeah, Manny and Emma make the comments that, if Hatzilakos is Peter's mom, then who's Peter's dad? Satan. Yeah, so basically, yeah. So Hatzilakos runs the school pretty well and all that. In seasons 5, 6, 7, and 9. A few little hiccups here and a hiccup there, blah, blah, blah. A major hiccup was basically Simpson being accused by Darcy of coming on to her in season 7. Basically all that. Well, the school board had to investigate. And even though Darcy told everyone the truth about Simpson and her, that it was her fault, not his, Simpson still was under suspension. But that was because the investigation still had to happen. And also, the school board probably thought that Simpson had talked to Darcy. I think Hatzilakos was willing to believe Simpson. And the fact that, Darcy confessed to everything. But, that's part of the investigation. Poor Snake. But yeah, Hatzilakos and Peter. That was creepy. It's like, okay, well, what did Peter do at Degrassi under his mom's watch? He distributed that video of Manny. He basically framed Sean with drugs. He basically took part in a street race and all that. And got Sean in prison. And then he put something in Emma's locker without Emma's knowing because, that's how he got to Sean. It's like, how come Peter got lucky? He didn't get expelled or suspended and all that for his actions and all that. A lot of people say a mother's love is the most conditional thing you need in life. And that might have what happened. I think her parental love for Peter overshadowed her disciplinary tactics at Degrassi, which basically were good. I mean, she is the best principal at the school and all that. There weren't too many bad controversies to do with shootings and all that at the school. Here's the thing, though. Peter, I think, knew he would get away with a lot of stuff under his mom's watch. Maybe. I think Peter himself basically contributed to that factor. But here's the point I'm trying to make. The point is that, Hatzilakos and her husband were separated and all that. Peter was living with his dad for a while, and basically that's why he never attended Degrassi. But then he moved in with his mom, who was the head cheese at Degrassi, and he got into Degrassi and all that. It's possible that Hatzilakos tried to do as much as she could as a mother to get Peter to basically favor her over the father, who I think was kind of less strict in a sense. So basically, Hatzilakos was doing all she can to keep Peter in her sight, to keep Peter close to her. Sometimes being a mother is harder than it seems because, you're dealing with your child at your own school and basically what you can do about it. Needless to say, Hatzilakos was not punishing Peter enough and all that for his things, especially season 6. As we all know, that Sean came back into the picture. Peter was nervous because Manny told Peter about how Sean and Emma were off again and on again. And so he knew that he had to do something to prevent Emma from being with Sean. So he planted the drugs in Sean's locker, getting him expelled. And thus he's free to date Emma and basically spread false stuff about Sean. Now, of course, Sean obviously knew that Hatzilakos was Peter's mom and basically figured that Peter framed him. And so Jay decided to make him do a street race, which, of course, ends up being a no contest after the pedestrian got hit. So basically, Hatzilakos does the right thing by putting Peter on house arrest after Peter gets lucky with just community service and all that. Peter breaks out of house arrest when his mom goes to a board meeting and basically talks to Emma, and they decide to go to that dance and make it a masquerade dance. Emma did that on purpose, knowing that, she could see Peter and all that. Of course, that was the episode when Jay and Manny did everything they can to basically tell Emma that she jumped to conclusions and Peter's the bad guy. Now, the strange thing about Emma is, she's conflicted. She wants to help Sean, but she wants to be with Peter. But I think it was because of Jay and Manny talking to her and all that it got into her head. I don't think Emma had those feelings about Sean after Sean got arrested and put in jail, if it wasn't for those two. So anyway, yeah, Peter basically puts the mask in Emma's locker. Emma's like, how did you know my combination? I have all the combinations at school. And basically Emma knew that Peter used his mom's connections to get what he wanted. And basically said, I did it for us. Emma, of course, was furious, and Emma basically told Peter off, saying that, don't come near me ever again. You're through. And then Peter gets busted by Hatzilakos. It's like, okay, then that basically means something. But I don't think Peter told his mom about about what Emma was talking to him about. It's possible he lied through his teeth, and Hatzilakos believed him. But of course, things look bleak in a sense, right? I mean, maybe things are bad. But one thing Emma could have done was basically force Peter to tell his mom the truth. She should have just said, you tell your mom the truth or I will. And basically forcing Peter. And if Peter tried to weasel himself out of it, then Emma would have told Hatzilakos the truth. And basically Hatzilakos would have had to listen to Emma. And all that. Now, Snake does tell Sean that he's willing to talk to Hatzilakos about getting Sean back. Or for disciplining Peter for everything. But Sean said it's fruitless. It would have not been fruitless. I mean, yeah, Sean and Emma were still together, but they could have done something about it. Emma would have probably put Peter in the conversation and told him to tell Hatzilakos the truth. So yeah, Hatzilakos was a bit shallow in her punishments of Peter. That's true. I hate that. I hate that, she decided to use her motherly instincts more so than her principal instincts and all that. I think Raj would have probably not allowed his kid to run amok and all that. But anyway, yeah. If he had a kid. So anyway, Hatzilakos and Peter, the dynamic. Season 7, Hatzilakos wants to go to Regina to deal with her ailing mother and wants to take Peter. Peter wants to finish in Toronto. The only way he can finish in Toronto is by asking his dad to move in. And the dad says, we don't have room, buddy. And he says, you can make room. I don't take up much room. And then basically he says, no, you shouldn't. Basically, Peter's dad doesn't want anything to do with him. But in a sense, Peter's dad does something for Peter and decides to buy out the apartment, to get an apartment to rent so that Peter can live in it. Of course, Hatzilakos comes back in season 9 to deal with a out-of-control Peter, who spirals into drug abuse at the risk of Mia. So she's there to help him out and all that. And basically, Peter gets better, Hatzilakos' care. So basically, a mother's love sometimes is conditional. Well, in Degrassi, it should have been thrown out the window and given Peter a kick in the ass. That's all I gotta say.